Hello, welcome to DNKS Legacy Productions. Thanks for spending some time with us. I hope you enjoy the video. And now to the intro. And now we're going to get right into it. Today's video is, at the end I'll show it to you. I'm going to talk about a video shoot that we did recently. It was at a local theater, actually one of the side buildings where they do rehearsing and staging for a local theater here in Philadelphia. Um, it was a first reading for some plays that are being produced. They are being worked on, and this was the first reading of the plays for the director, producer, and he's the director and producer of the workshop that these plays are being developed in, and it was the first reading for the writers of these plays, so they could hear their work um, being delivered by professional actors. And actors, actually, I have to say, were pretty good because of the process. They did not have time to rehearse before. They did not get advance copies of the script. They got more into character as they went along in the scripts, but they're professional actors, so actually they picked up on who they were supposed to be, and it actually worked out really well. I was pleasantly not pleasantly surprised. I had never been to one before, and so it was a good event for me. I thought it was really nice, and it was really interesting to see these people do their thing. But the shoot was basically a Zoom call. We, as I this was planned during COVID, so we didn't know if what the restrictions were going to be. So we kept it down to the only people that were in the venue where we were doing the Zoom call were the actors and the owner of the theater. The producer and director of the workshop was in Virginia, and the playwrights were in prospective cities that they live in. So none of those people actually were there, and actually one of the actors was not there as well. They were on the Zoom call as well, which is another tribute to them because they they got into it really good too, and the plays were really good plays, and they were really excellent. I can't tell you more about them because, like I said, they're in development. This was their first reading, but we only had one camera set up. This is an example of um, what can be done with the ATEM, our mobile studio, our ATEM Mini Pro in a box. Um, I've shown videos about that, and I'll put a link to that video up here later. And or I'll put a link somewhere for that video, and you can go back and find our other videos about some of the stuff that I'm talking about. Um, you'll see the boxes that I talk about in other videos, the toolboxes that I use to carry my all of my equipment in. It is a toolbox system. It's a rigid toolbox system. You can get it fairly cheaply at Home Depot, and it is very convenient for carrying my equipment in. I can get the bottom box has all of my tripods, cables, and various different things. And then we have different boxes for different things. We have one box that the ATEM Mini Pro is in with the monitor. It has it has all the cables I need for 4 cameras. It has the hard drive for recording. It has the um, wireless microphones in it. So, and then there's another box that I have for the cameras. So everything is pretty much combined in one system to be able to go and do a mobile multi-camera shoot. Now for this venue, for this event rather, it was not a multi-camera shoot because it was just a Zoom call, and the venue was small enough that we did not actually need more than one camera angle. It was just um, it was set up just so that with one camera, the director could see the actors, and we set up a large monitor which mirrored what was on my monitor on my laptop so that I could monitor the call and they could see what was going on. They could see, the actors could see and hear the director. I had a radio, uh, a portable radio hooked up, and that was the loudspeaker, and they were able to interact with the actors, and the director and the playwrights were all able to interact over the Zoom call. So we only needed one camera, but the ATEM was necessary. For one, we weren't sure if we were going to use more than one camera, but mostly for the sound, for the switching capabilities of the ATEM. It's not a actual audio switcher, but because of the software, the audio software in the ATEM, it was useful. I had we could do sound from the cameras when necessary. I could switch to sound from the wireless microphones that I had set up, and it allowed me to control the sound even though we only had one camera. I was able with the ATEM to set up multiple ways to get sound. Um, One of the reasons we set it up that way is because I used wireless microphones. I have 2 Ceramonic wireless microphone systems. I've done videos on that. You can check those out later. And what I did was for each play, I set up I would set up the wireless mics. I set them. I did not have to actually wire each individual actor. I actually set the mics on the table in front of the actors because they were close enough in proximity, and the venue was small enough and quiet enough that the lavalier mics by themselves, because they're omnidirectional, was able to pick up the actors and have good sound, and they can transmit it wirelessly back to where I was. And I used one set, got stereo sound out of the one set, and as one play ended, I would switch out that set for the other set and charge that set while the other set was in use, and then vice versa for each play. I switched out the microphones for each play. That way I was always able to make sure that I had a full charge on battery power, because everything, well, the cameras were on wall power. Nothing else was on battery power, but the wireless mics were on battery power. So that allowed me to be able to use multiple different ways of getting microphones. And actually, in between plays, what we used for the sound was the actual microphone from the camera. So we were able to switch off the microphones, the wireless lavalier microphone systems. We were able to switch them off, transfer to the camera sound, so that we could still communicate with the director, and the director could communicate with us and the actors while we were switching out the lavalier microphone systems. So that's how that went. One of the best things about this system was the ability to get into the venue. I rolled the cases in. It was 4 cases. You'll see them because I took a picture of them. The cases opened up and emptied. It was the 4 cases. They stacked and locked together. Rolled them in. Took me about a half an hour to set up. Which was really nice, being able to, it limited the amount of time I had, lead time I had to have to get into the venue and get set up. And then the event went on all day. And so at the end of the day, it actually only took me about 20 minutes to break everything down, because like I said, everything goes into those cases. And I've done videos on those cases and how I have everything packed in those cases. And so when we were done, it was just a matter of packing everything up and rolling up all the cables and putting them back in their places where they go, in the boxes, and snapping them closed. And we were out of there with, it took about 20 minutes to break down the system and put it back in my truck. Well, half an hour by the time I put it back in my truck. But the actual breakdown of the system probably took 20 minutes. So this is just a quick look at the behind the scenes. I'll put some of that at the end of this video. I'll put some video footage of the behind the scenes and how everything was set up. I will have to mute the sound because, as I said, these plays are in development and they aren't actually I can't actually share with you the sounds. And in fact, some of the shots you can't even see the actors faces, and then there's a couple of shots where you will be able to see some of the people that were there, but I will blur their faces out as well. And but this just this video is just to talk about and show what can be done with the mobile system, and what we do with the systems we develop to make sure that the things that you want to do can be done quickly and efficiently. So if you're in need of video productions in the future, keep us in mind, give us a call. We'll be glad to help. And with that, here's some of the behind the scenes video.
JR, we spread out all over town. Some people went door to door. Is that JR says we spread out all over town. Some people went door to door. On page 30, that's the last line.
Page 20?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, page 20.
No, page 20. What's on page 20?
Page 20. Page 20, the last line is JR saying we spread out all over town. Some people went door to door.
I got a different one.